Hi everybody and welcome to another speed paint video. So this one was actually a pretty big project for me. I wanted to draw all of the Hero Academia characters that were in disguises from one of their episodes in this past season. And the fact that I decided to do this was, I'm happy that I did because it was really fun to draw all of the diverse characters in this way. They're all like basically giving out different energies, different personalities, and even though this pic could have been like a hot mess in general, in the end it didn't turn out to be that way. It was actually pretty good and well balanced, so I'm actually pretty happy with the way it turned out. It has diversity but also kind of like a form of unity at the same time with the chaos. I really love Iida's face in this. Just the fact he's talking about boobs in the episode was kind of fun. I also really like the fact that his hand is right below Momo's chest. Was that intentional? Maybe so, but I thought it was super funny if I put his hand out and was just like, look at these chachis. Another fun part about this process was drawing Deku's face. I love drawing highly expressive faces. They're really hard to do and like I always have to practice them, but this one turned out so well because it's not pretty. It's an ugly face, man. There's even a vein going up his neck. I think either it's in the sketch or yes, in the sketch. And it was just a lot of fun to show that ugly side of him when he's trying really hard to be like intimidating in some way. So that was a whole lot of fun. And just for kicks and giggles, I decided to shade the sketch just to see where the lighting is. I tend to be afraid to do that because once I do that, I feel like I'm kind of done with the piece and then I never touch it. But I broke that and I was able to like get back into it and start doing a line art. I took also a lot of breaks during this process. This piece was highly time consuming and I definitely needed time to work on this one. So after about 2 hours of work, I took a break, about 30 minutes or so, and then I got back into it. It's very important to take breaks, even if it's just art, you know, it's still a skill, it's still, in a sense, work, you know, your body is doing a lot for something that many people think is similar, not similar, is simple. So you want to give your body a break, give your arm, your hand a rest, and kind of like to clear your thoughts a little bit. And it's something that I kind of like reinforce to anyone who's working, who is studying, who is doing whatever. If you find yourself doing one thing, the same thing for more than 2 hours, you need to take a break. You need to quit. No, not the word quit. That's like ending something. You need to just take a break, get up, walk around a little bit, get your blood moving, and then come back to it. And that's the same thing with studying. If you're still in school, take breaks. Don't be like, I'm gonna do an all-nighter. That's dumb. Don't ever do an all-nighter. Or like, I'm gonna just study 5 hours straight and be done. Don't do it 5 hours straight. 5 hours straight. Study for 2 hours max, preferably 1.5, and then take a 30-minute break and then get back into it again. That's like the best way to study. That's the best way to work because you retain the information better. You also retain the skill sets better that you're practicing. As you can tell, we kind of jumped in the recording at this point. Unfortunately, I lost the recording for the skin, so my bad. But hey, just check out my other videos. The way I paint skin has not changed since my last video, so you can definitely check that out as well. Now, at this point, it's the same thing, you know, I add a base layer, then I add a shaded layer, and then a highlighted layer. I combine all 3 layers together, and then I start blending and painting with all of those different colors. So it's kind of like redundant at this point, but yeah. Oh, one thing I did do in this process that I don't usually do regularly was I spread out the workload. In previous videos, I always say that I like to work on a character at a time, and that is still true. But in this case, right, I spread it out because this was the first designer print that I decided to make for Anime Expo 2018, and I admit, was pretty rusty at digital art or drawing in general still. So I was like, oh, why not just spread out the workload? But during this process, after spreading the workload, I realized I found myself not as motivated to finish, and also kind of like tiring out really quickly. And that is like, through that experience, it reminded me again, okay, yeah, now I know why I work on a character at a time. Because I didn't feel like I was ever finishing anything. And it's still, like, for me, even though I have the hair and the skin done, it still doesn't look like it's finished. So, yeah. Now, I don't know what else to talk about. Let's say... okay, let's talk about kind of like the style of the anime and how it relates with my style. So, growing up, I grew up with a lot of what is considered like fighting type anime. I grew up with Yu Yu Hakusho, I grew up with Inuyasha, I grew up with Naruto, Bleach, and whatnot. These type of animes all kind of had that fighting mentality, hero-based mentality, and I really loved these animes a lot. And so right now, Hero Academia is one of my favorites because it plays with the same ideas as the older animes that I've watched growing up. And it's actually interesting because when I was drawing these characters, I was afraid, oh my gosh, do not draw in the style of the show. Do not draw in the style of the show, because I want to be known for my style and not for being able to copy a style and to recreate as a print. Strangely enough, though, at the end of this entire process, I've realized that drawing these characters wasn't very difficult for me, and I think it's because the style of the anime actually is not similar to, but has elements that are similar to my style as well. And so drawing these characters, it wasn't very difficult for me. Was it still challenging? Yes, there are still some quirks here that I definitely didn't mind. And it was very enticing to draw in the style of the show or style of the manga, but I try to keep a little like my style or my originality into the work, and that you can see in the hair, also in Deku's face. Deku's face is highly exaggerated in the episode that these disguises come from, but it's even more expressed because I feel like I bent his hair more, I bent his face more, I stretched out his neck even more, and it's just, I feel like it was more expressive than the anime. Am I saying that mine is better? No, definitely not, but I felt like his face is like a face that I would have drawn naturally. And so at this point, I'm kind of like doing individual backgrounds for each character, or mostly each character. I really like the white, like, yelly cutout thing I added. It kind of gives like this cute little comic book feel. And it looks overall kind of like chaotic because you have all these different backgrounds, all of these different characters, but because each one is like strangely chaotic and weird, they all kind of like work together really well, and it's a chaotic good, you know. At this part, I'm kind of like trying to fit the word boobs into Ida's section, and for some reason every time I wrote the word boobs, it just didn't look like the word boobs, you know. I really wanted to get the O's to look like real boobs to some extent, but it just didn't work out, so I changed it up at the very end and I said that rack, I think, instead. And I kind of like it as well. It's not as funny, but it's still funny to some extent. But yeah, this is basically the entire video. I love the diversity of the piece, the fun nature of the piece, and it was just a whole lot of fun to draw these characters. So this is the final product. I hope you guys like it. And yeah, thank you guys again for watching the video. Please like and subscribe to see more. So, bye!